So a family member asked me, why did the dollar go down when tariffs hit? I thought tariffs were supposed to make the dollar go up. And I thought it was a really good question, and I wanted to address it because I'm sure other people have that question as well. And so if we look prior to January till now, tariffs did actually make the dollar go up. When the president of the United States went ahead and said that they were going to impose 25% tariffs on Mexico and 25% tariffs on Canada, the dollar rose on that. And that's because the tariffs were going to go ahead and give us short-term inflation. And higher inflation means a higher dollar. But this time it's a little bit different. So on April 2nd, the president of the United States went ahead and made his tariff announcement on what he's going to do with everyone in the world. And before that, markets were going ahead and pricing in the worst case scenario. So we saw equity indices go down, gold was going up, the dollar was preparing for the move. And so whenever he made the announcement, initially he said it was going to be a 10% baseline tariff across the board. And the 10% baseline inflation was actually better than the market expected. So the markets actually rallied a little bit on that. So equity indices started to push higher. And then somewhere in the conversation, he goes ahead and pulls out this board. And once he pulled out the board, it was a list of countries and the tariffs that they are imposing upon us. And Trump went ahead and said, we're going to give them basically a 50% haircut on what they give us. So if they're giving us 100% tariffs, we're going to impose 50% on top of the 10% that we're going to go ahead and give to everybody. When that happened, the market panicked and started selling off. So we saw a lot of inflows into safe haven currencies like the yen and the Swiss franc, and equity indices went ahead and just wiped out trillions of dollars by the day. And on Friday, it was pretty much the worst day for the equity indices. S&P 500 dropped 4.93%, and the NASDAQ went ahead and dropped 6.17%, and the VIX elevated 50%. What that also did was went ahead and dropped the US 10-year yield. Now, some speculate that the president was Now, some said that the president was intentionally dropping the market and the rates. We have a lot of debt that we need to refinance. So dropping the 10-year yield could go ahead and allow us to refinance the debt at a better rate. That is speculation. I'm going to just leave it at that. But dollar went ahead and sold off because money flowed into safe haven currencies like the yen and the Swiss franc. Now, usually the dollar is the safe haven when there's uncertainties and wars or whatever the case may be. But because the dollar was the aggressor in this case, is the one initiating all this panic, people went ahead and put their money into things like the yen and the Swiss franc. I like the yen personally because the yen is 25% of their currency is backed by gold, and they're pretty much neutral when it comes to geopolitics. They don't like to get involved in wars or anything like that. They're pretty much the chill cousin that has no input when there's fighting at the dinner table. And so that's why we saw a lot of inflows into the Swiss franc. So thank you for watching. I hope this helps answer some questions. Have a good one. And what do you think? Do you think the dollar should have gone up? And what do you think is going to happen next? I'm curious to know what you guys think.